This is KCCK's Culture Crawl. I'm Dennis Green, and my guest today is Meg Merckens from the Iowa Theater Artist Company. We were joking out in the lobby before we came in, the Iowa Theater Artist Company, that you're trying to retire, but the community will not let you.
Yes, we retired 2 years ago. We kind of made an announcement that, it was time for us to, say goodbye, maybe do 1 or 2 shows a year, but we haven't sold our building yet. So each year we come out of retirement and we do 3 or 4 shows, but it's been fun, actually. So don't ever believe us when we say we're retiring, because I guess we never will.
Well, we're all the richer for it. Well, you've got a very cool show coming up for, for a segment of our audience, a big segment of our audience. When you say the name Erma Bombeck, that immediately conjures up a vision of a certain kind of comedy.
Yes.
And I did not know that there was a show associated with this. So tell me a little bit about it.
That is interesting because we were looking for a show as we were coming out of retirement this year. We were looking for a show to put on this summer. And my husband, Tom Johnson, who's a co-producer, said, what would make a great one-woman show would be a show about Erma Bombeck. And I remember my mom loved her. She wrote a column called At Wit's End, mid-60s, 70s, 80s, and into the 90s.
Yeah, the Reader's, I always think of the Reader's Digest.
The Reader's Digest, yeah. She was always really funny, and she, it was really about being a stay-at-home mom and a housewife, and she took that material that she lived every day and made it into a humorous column. She was the first one to ever do anything quite like that, and I loved the idea.
Really, if you think about it, maybe one of the first female humorists in America.
There were advice columnists, but not a humorist, where she actually wrote a funny article, each day, or 3 times a week, I should say. So I looked up to see, how I could go about doing this, and noticed that a show had just been written last October. The very first production was at the Arena Stage in Washington, D.C., November of 2015.
So a brand new show.
This is maybe the second production.
Wow.
I know. So we got scooped with the idea, and it is a good idea, and it's been really fun for me as the daughter of someone who read all about her, but very aware of her, to learn more about her and to do this show where people come in and are going to learn some things that she didn't broach in the column, but there's also a lot of favorite lines from all of her books and articles that she wrote for years.
So what's the format with these shows? I've seen a couple of them recently. One of them kind of talking to the audience memoir-wise, and there's others that where you play lots of different characters. Where does this fall in that continuum?
This falls into playing herself and talking to the audience, but going through 1962 to about 1992.
Okay.
So she covers kind of a 30-year period.
And a pretty interesting 30 years, too.
Yes.
Talk about how the role of women changed in our country.
Yes, and she comments quite heavily on that. And what's been fun, we just have had a few performances this past week. We opened and continues for another 4 weeks. So we're doing a longer run than usual with this show. But some of the comments are the women just, that, and the men in the audience have really know quite a bit about her, follow her, loved her, and enjoyed revisiting and bringing back a lot of memories.
Talking with Meg Merckens from the Iowa Theater Artist Company about the Erma Bombeck show is called At Wit's End.
Yes.
Which is the same
as her column.
As her column. And you said that there are some things that you get into in this that were not a part of her column. So what things about her life will you deal with in the show that might be new to people?
There's a whole segment about her involvement with the Equal Rights Amendment, which totally floored me. She was very active and on the road trying to get states to pass that back in late 70s, mid to and early 80s. And I had no idea that she was working with Bella Abzug and Gloria Steinem on the Equal Rights Amendment. And being kind of a traditional mom and, with a three columns a week career. She probably wasn't a traditional mom, but I mean, for the most part. But I know that she had a political side. She also did not go into much about an illness that she had carried throughout her life that was inherited from her dad, and she just didn't let it affect how she lived her life, and never wrote about it, never complained about it, and eventually it took her life. She was only 69 years old when she died, so very young. And that was back in 1996, I believe. So there are just things that come up that she didn't share just because she didn't want to, she didn't feel like that was something that the readers needed to know. Not that she was hiding it or anything, it just was kind of a private part of her life.
So, no, I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah.
give me one of your favorite Erma Bombeck lines.
Well, of course, she wrote a lot of books with great titles like "The Grass is Always Greener Over the Septic Tank" and things like that. She's famous for, of course, if life is a bowl of cherries, what am I doing in the pits? That kind of thing. She was just always kind of self-deprecating, but in such a funny way, and bringing everybody along with her and saying, here's what it's like for me. How about for you? A really funny segment where she makes fun of the way women were depicted with that kind of pearls and a pretty dress and high heels and vacuuming, and that just wasn't happening in real life. So
not to anyone.
No. So it's fun to do something that has so much humor in it and so much love. She loved being a mom, and she loved staying at home and being there when her kids got home from school. But at the same time, she wanted something a little more, and so what she was able to work out was this column she could write at home. And I pull out the typewriter, put it on the ironing board, and in the bedroom, and that's how I type.
And away you go.
Based on how she first started.
Well, the show is you're in your mid-run.
It just started,
So it runs through.
Yes, it goes through August 14th, and we're doing something a little different. We thought this might be a really great matinee show. And it's a shorter show. You're out in about 90 minutes, maybe a little bit less. We have a 2:30 matinee on Wednesdays and Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays, with only one evening performance on Friday night. So there are no Saturday shows. So we go Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday.
And you get bed at a decent hour, too.
Yes, it's really kind of nice. I'm totally becoming a geezer. I love being done at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Just in time for happy hour.
Yes. Oh, God.
So the show runs through the 14th.
It does.
At the Iowa Theater Artists Building in Amana.
Yes, which was the old barn restaurant, if people remember that.
And if you like the building,
yes,
you can make an offer.
Yes, it's a beautiful building. I will give you a personal tour through. It's quite large, quite lovely, right in the middle of Amana. Lovely place to be. There's so much going on in Amana right now. Really, there are lots of little festivals. There's lots of big festivals. A new Hofbrauhaus kind of style building that's coming in, an event center that'll be really fun. Big German kind of brew house. And so we hope people come out, have a piece of pie and a cup of coffee, a meal, a beer, whatever they want, and then come on over and laugh with Erma Bombeck.
The show is Erma Bombeck at Wits End, running through the 14th of August. One-woman show starring Meg Merckens.
Yes.
And if you want tickets, how do they get them?
They have to call us because we're not big enough to have online ticketing yet. But maybe next year, if we come out of retirement again, we will have that.
Come out of retirement with a web designer.
But they can call Katie in our box office. It's area code 319-622-3222. So it's 622-3222. It's about as many twos as you can get in there. So, but we'd love to hear from you. And reservations, because we're a little theater, we're just 99 seats. We love to have you reserve so that you don't come down and not be able to see the show.
Okay, so best to call ahead.
It is good to call ahead.
All right. Oh, well, good luck with it. Sounds like
Dennis,
it's going to be a blast. Thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you. This is wonderful. Appreciate being here.